Hi, this is Miss Jan at the Woodlands Children's Museum. Welcome to Storybook Theater. And Katie is here with me. She's going to start us off with a little bit of our story song. Are you ready, Katie?
All ready. If you want to hear a story, clap your hands. If you want to hear a story, clap your hands. If you want to hear a story, if you want to hear a story, if you want to hear a story, clap your hands. If you want to hear a story, shout hooray, hooray! If you want to hear a story, shout hooray, hooray! If you want to hear a story, if you want to hear a story, if you want to hear a story, shout hooray, hooray! That was awesome, Katie. Take a bow. Good job. And we're going to let you listen to the story in your little box today. And let me check out, yes, you can wait, everybody. Check out my treasure chest today. Oh, I love this book. This is Gus and Me, the story of my granddad and my first guitar. The author of this book is Keith Richards, who is a member of the band The Rolling Stones, as in rock and roll. The illustrator of the book is Theodora Richards, which is Keith Richards' daughter. And I chose this book because April is International Guitar Month. And since it talks about Keith Richards' first guitar, I thought this is perfect to celebrate International Guitar Month. So, Gus and Me. Theodore Augustus Dupree lived with 7 daughters near the Seven Sisters Road in a house that was filled with instruments and cake. That's my kind of house. Yum. And music. And if you look, there are musical notes floating in the sky. That means there's music happening. Theodore Augustus Dupree could play the piano and scrape the violin, blow the saxophone, and strum the guitar. He had been a soldier, a baker, and the leader of a dance band. But now, Theodore Augustus Dupree was my granddad. Now, he was Gus. There was nothing like visiting Gus. The closer to his house I'd get, the bigger my smile would grow. By the time I landed on his doorstep, I was all teeth. That means big smile. He'd be waiting at the front door for me. "Fix the sink, Gus," my grandmother would call out. "Can't do, Emma," Gus would call back. "Keith and I are going for a walk." He'd wink at me and whistle for Mr. Thompson Woofed, and our adventure would begin. And this is Mr. Thompson Woofed right here. We'd walk for miles. We'd walk through towns, and we'd walk through the countryside. And Gus, he would hum every step of the way. He'd hum whole symphonies as we strolled from one village to the next. He'd hum funny little tunes. And we wandered skinny streets and smoky alleys, marching songs as we tiptoed around foggy ponds and explored silent forests. With Gus, you had no idea where you'd end up. One time, he led me all the way to the top of Primrose Hill to look at the night stars. "Don't know if we can make it home tonight," Gus said. So we slept under a tree on the top of the hill with the skylights above us and the city lights below. Once, Gus walked us all the way to London and into the workshop of a big store that sold instruments. "Let's just pop in here. I've got to pick up some strings." "Okay, Gus." And again, you can tell where the shop for the instruments is because of all those musical notes floating up into the sky. Inside, it looked like a beehive. Gus lifted me up and sat me on a shelf so that I could see everything. Violins hung from the ceiling by wires. Horns clung to the walls. Men in long brown coats fixed broken instruments and built new ones. I watched as they bent over cellos, trombones, and trumpets. They dabbed at the drums with glue and tapped at them with tiny hammers. There's a lot going on there. Men tested the guitar strings. Dink-a-plink, dink-a-plink, and the drums. Dock, dock, bum, bum, dock, bum. This is a new book, so it takes a while to turn these pages. My eyes followed a line of guitars that snaked around the room on a conveyor belt. And in the middle of everything, big, bubbling buckets of glue went blub, blub, blub. It was magic. I sat on that shelf, watching it all. And right then, right there, I fell in love with instruments. When Gus and I got back to his house that day, I took a long look at that guitar that always sat on top of his piano. It seemed more beautiful than ever. All I wanted was to make the strings go dink-a-plink, plink, like the men in the store, but I couldn't reach it. "When you're tall enough, you can have a go," Gus said. And there's that guitar sitting on top of the piano. I used to have a piano that looked just like that one. Every time I visited Gus, I reached for that guitar. Even on my toes, I couldn't touch it. One day, I felt like I was tall enough to grab it, but I didn't even have to try. Gus simply handed it to me. "All yours," he said. He sat with me, taught me how to hold it, strum it, and pluck a little. "When you learn how to play Malagueña," he told me, that's a song, "you can play anything." Dink-a-plink, dink-a-plink, dink-a-plink. And I practiced on that beautiful guitar. Dink-a-plink, dink-a-plink, dink-a-plink. He is playing and playing and practicing and practicing. One day, Gus heard me playing Malagueña, that song, and he nodded. Then he said something I'll never forget. "I think you're getting the hang of it." After that, I took that guitar everywhere. I went to sleep with my arms wrapped around it instead of a teddy bear. Even today, all these years later, I think of Gus. Every time I walk on stage, Every time I write a song, every time I reach for a guitar and play a few dink-a-planks for my own grandchildren, I say to myself, thanks, Granddad. Thanks, Gus. And that's a true story of how Keith Richards came to love music and playing the guitar. And there's some real life pictures in here. This is Gus, and there's pictures of Keith when he was little. And there's one, where is that one? With Keith Richards with his own grandson, Orson. Now he's teaching him to play the guitar. And then I'll see if I can put this really close. This is Keith Richards with his daughter, Theodora, who drew all the pictures for Gus and me. So I hope you enjoyed this story. It's become one of my new favorites. And thank you so much for joining me today for Storybook Theater. Until next time, keep a smile on your face and a story and a song in your heart. Bye-bye.